During UC Trends 2020, we're going to be taking you inside some of Silicon Valley's biggest technology providers to bring you a series of video interviews with members of their leadership teams. What we want to do is understand more about the business's plans over the next 12 to 18 months, but also bring you an insight into the personality and culture of the leader and the business itself. 8x8 have experienced rapid growth globally with a selection of solutions throughout the unified communications and contact center markets. We chatted with their CEO, Vikram Verma, to understand more about 8x8's plans for the industry. So, Vic, thanks for having us into the 8x8 offices.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for coming.
No, well, our pleasure. First of all, I wanted to understand from you personally, how did you get involved in the unified communications industry, and how did you end up sitting here as CEO of 8x8?
So I actually, I helped start a company right out of Stanford, which was in the IoT space. And we built the company up and we sold it to Texas Instruments. And then a few years later, we bought it back. And then after that, we built it up even bigger. And then we sold it to Lockheed Martin. And I was a president at Lockheed Martin of Strategic Ventures, and I was starting to sit on a few boards, and I joined the 8x8 board. And literally within a year or so, I was CEO. So I did not realize that when I joined the board there was an ulterior motive, but it's an amazing company and an amazing opportunity, and an opportunity to totally disrupt communications. So I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, I was going to say, from sitting on that board, what was the attraction that you thought this is the place for me?
So very few times in your life do you get this great confluence of a great technology, good people, and a market that is just taking off. Communications is so fundamental to every business, and communications is moving all to the cloud, and it's becoming omni-channel. So voice, video, as well as collaboration are all converging together, and everything's moving to cloud. And 8x8, where we put all of these various technologies together, is at the forefront. And so the opportunity to combine all of these things together and make something special is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I just couldn't resist.
And you talk about the growth of cloud communications. 8x8 have experienced some pretty impressive growth as well in the recent past. What do you attribute that to? What's sort of the secret ingredient for success at 8x8?
So for us, it's very much about making sure we have ownership of our technology, because in the end, we believe that this is a marathon, not a sprint, although it's a marathon being run essentially at sprint speeds. And over the next few years, you're going to see about a $50+ billion market completely move to the cloud. And so for 8x8, the idea is we realized very early on that it's not going to be just voice. It's going to be voice plus video conferencing, plus collaboration, chat, text, etc., as well as contact center and a common platform. So we took a platform approach towards communications, and what that allows our customers to do is buy maybe just the voice piece and then add video conferencing or collaboration or contact center as time goes on. So that platform approach, we think, is very differentiated in the market, and this, I believe, is the key reason for our success.
And I suppose that helps customers on that journey to cloud solutions, because they can effectively look at different aspects of their communication requirements and move them in accordance with their own needs.
Exactly. It's all about the customer. So they move at their own pace. They decide what they want to move to cloud, when they want to move to cloud, and they're able to mix and match technologies, because in our case, it's a common platform. And we think that's a huge reason for our success, and that's a reason for why we believe we will have sustainable success, because once you provide a platform, over time, you have the ability to keep adding additional features to our customers. As their needs change, we're able to provide additional technologies and capabilities that they can have and move everything to the cloud.
One thing that I really want to try and get across to the viewers of this video is what it's like within these Silicon Valley technology providers like yourselves, and you very kindly invited us into the office. What's it like day to day here? What's it like with the people? What's the culture of the business like?
Controlled chaos. Sometimes uncontrolled chaos too, but generally the thing we like to do is in Silicon Valley, and I think pretty much all around the world, I have a view that it doesn't matter about where somebody comes from, what race, gender, religion, what God they worship, what geography. It all comes down to what's in people's head and what's in people's hearts. And if you get the right kind of people and they're smart and they have good values and they understand what we are trying to do, then you turn them loose. And so to some extent, we have a very empowering culture in the sense we hire smart people, and we hire them because we want them to tell us what to do, as opposed to us doing a command and control and telling everybody what to do. So to some extent, it is that level of controlled chaos that you see happen. But it drives innovation. There are ideas that come every day that I look at and go, holy smokes, I wish I had thought about that. But then I'm very glad I didn't, because in the end, it says that we're hiring people that are smarter than me. And that's the key in Silicon Valley, as well as all around the world.
Yeah, I suppose in a more regimented environment, you potentially lose a bit of that freedom of thought capability to,
Correct.
Ideation in different ways.
Yeah, no, and to a large degree, in the end, companies are people. And companies are not CEOs. CEOs often get a lot of the credit and sometimes an inordinate amount of the blame. But the blame is typically deserved. The credit rarely is. But the issue is if you hire great people and you give them the right mission and give them the right framework and the right culture, great things happen. So it really comes down to hiring great people all over the world. And then, to a large degree, having a communication and collaboration environment, which is products that we provide to our customers as well as to ourselves, that ensures that people can communicate with each other, share ideas, and really move the ball forward and make great things happen.
If you look back over the last 12 months, say, if we were putting together a highlight reel of best bits, what would be your particular standout moments from the last 12 months?
I think we've had a couple of amazing acquisitions. We acquired a company called Wavecell, which is Singapore-based, and they have come up with a way to create essentially SMS packets and APIs for bite-sized communication. So think about what Uber has, where you look at the Uber app and you're able to call the driver or a notification gets sent to you. So they are the backbone for an app like that, and they provide that for several companies that are some amazing companies in Asia Pacific. So we acquired that company. We most recently, prior to that, we acquired a company called Jitsi from Atlassian, which is video conferencing. And these guys have built an amazing video conferencing technology where literally with one click, you are in a meeting room and you're able to share both information, your desktop, as well as look at each other in the eye, and it's in high definition and with crystal clear voice quality. So those two technologies that we just acquired and then have incorporated into our company, we think are going to be game changers for us.
And I suppose that touches on what we were talking about before in terms of the completeness of your portfolio is rather unique within the industry. And as you said, with the Jitsi acquisition and the integration features that you talked about with Wavecell, that sort of CPaaS proposition potentially is going to be a big growth area.
We think so. I think we have had a vision since about 2013 that all of these technologies are going to converge together, and that having loose partnerships between multiple companies to provide this one integrated solution is not a winning strategy. The last company that tried it was IBM PC, and when they teamed up with Microsoft and Intel, and we know how that turned out for IBM. So very early on, we wanted to make sure we had control over these core technologies. And the idea is to hire companies with great technologies, then incorporate them into our platform and use our common sales team to go out and take it to market. And that, we think, is going to be a winning strategy for years to come. We have everything from, we've had 8 acquisitions over the course of the last 6 years. And it's 3 companies in contact center space, a company in analytics and machine learning, a company in collaboration, a company in video conferencing, a company in CPaaS, and all of these coming together as part of our core platform allows us to really position ourselves for sustainable growth for years and years to come as the entire market moves to the cloud.
And this video is going to be part of our UC Trend series. And I wanted to understand from you, someone who has a really good overview of the market. You mentioned a couple of the sort of technology areas there, artificial intelligence, which is really permeating the different solutions. What trends, both within technology, but also workplace trends, we've seen a big move to remote working and flexible working. Which trends do you see impacting 8x8 and your provision of technology platforms the most?
So probably the top 3 trends that I see, the number one trend is the power that the customer has to choose which company they go with or do business with. So the ability to personalize every interaction with a customer is something that our technology enables, because whether you call the CEO, the receptionist, or the customer service agent, all that information is shared, and the last few interactions a customer has had with the company is always available, so you can personalize every interaction with a customer. That we think is huge trend, and that's going to accelerate, because just think about it. More and more when you deal with a company, if they know who you are, the last few times you interacted with them, the kind of problems you had or the solutions you're looking for, and they're able to personalize it so you don't have to keep repeating yourself again and again, that builds up brand loyalty, and that matters a huge amount. So that one trend is absolutely critical, the customer loyalty and the customer interaction and the customer personalization. The second part is remote workplaces. So this whole concept where you go where the talent is. You don't go and say, I'm going to be in XYZ location and people are going to come to me and they're going to commute an hour and a half or 2 hours. You go wherever the talent is, whether it's in Romania or London or in Timbuktu, it doesn't matter. You get people where they are, you put them in an environment where they are most comfortable and can do their best work, and then you find ways to connect everybody together using video conferencing and collaboration tools. So that concept of basically video conferencing and remote working and having communication systems that tie everything together is the second key trend. And the third trend is exactly how we communicate. I'm sure when you communicate, you typically start with a text message. And then when you feel like you're not being heard, or maybe something's not being clear, you pick up the phone, you say, let's chat on the phone. And then if you still want to see somebody's face, then you may go to a video conference call or do a document sharing. So when you think about it, that seamlessness of communication is another, the so-called multi-channel communication is the way we all operate. You start with a text message, you may use a collaboration room. When you want clarity, you typically pick up the phone, and or if you really want to be able to see people, then you create a video conferencing environment. And so the idea of having a seamless move between these various communication media is absolutely critical. So I think those are your three key trends. The power that you have to ensure that you personalize the customer's experience. The second part is obviously the remote working environment and making sure people remotely feel connected to corporate. And number three is this omni-channel nature of communication. I think these are the three trends driving productivity in the workforce for years to come.
And how do you see technology helping the development and the success of those? I mean, you talked about how you started your career in the Internet of Things. I was talking about the work you do with artificial intelligence and machine learning. How do you see the technology side catering for those demands of changing consumer demands and workforce demands?
It goes back to the concept of a platform, because what you think about it, our one platform has voice, video, collaboration, contact center all built in, and it's built on a common data layer, so any real-time interaction that happens in a company, every voice call, every video call, every chat, every text message, any collaboration that happens between employees or between employees and customers and employees, customers and partners is all sitting in one place, so you have that data to help you drive more personalization, both with your employees as well as with your customers. So I think that technology, that one platform, one communication platform, I think is fundamental to what I just told you, which are three key workplace trends.
So for the last couple of questions, I'm going to get you to do the impossible or maybe the very difficult. So if you look ahead to the market, and I appreciate 8x8, you operate in a number of different communication areas, as we talked about before. How do you see the marketplace developing over the next 12 months into 2020? Do you see anything radical happening in sort of the short to medium term, or in terms of workplace trends or technology?
No, I think it's more of the same. I think with the trend that you just talked about, the personalization of the customer, the concept of remote workplaces all being tied together, and this omni-channel nature of communication is the core that will drive companies' business needs going forward. So with that, I think you're seeing probably a 10% penetration of cloud communications. I think you'll see that number continue to accelerate. And I think probably in the next 5 to 7 years, that number, the penetration will be closer to 50%. And you're seeing it. You're seeing the large on-premise vendors either go bankrupt or go private or get bought. And you're starting to see all of these cloud technologies all kind of forming loose partnerships to create this common platform, and or people like us that have basically acquired these technologies to create this common platform. And I think you're just going to see this trend accelerate. I think we're in the early stages of a massive, massive market opportunity.
And lastly, if I could create a time machine, probably with the help of some of the clever guys and girls here, and I could go forward with you to New Year's Eve next year in 2020, and we could look back on the year to come, What would have made it, in your opinion, a real success for 8x8?
I think for 8x8, we've done a great job of putting the technology together. I think we've done a great job. We've got 1,800 people. I think we've created the right culture. We're starting to see acceleration in our sales machine. What would be great is if our stock is double and if we are continuing to see growth rate accelerate, both of which are within the realm of possibility. So if our stock was $50 at the end of next year, I'd be reasonably happy. If it was 100, I'd be really, really happy.
Great to hear. Well, Vic, thank you so much for chatting to me.
My pleasure.